Welcome to the Small Business Made Simple podcast, brought to you by socialmediaandmarketing.com.au. Being in business is never easy, but it can be simple, or at least simpler. Join me, your host Jen Donovan, every week where we focus on marketing, social media, and working towards simplifying your business. You with me? Let's do this.
Gonna dream it big, 'cause someone out there listening. Everyone's got a voice to give, and it's time I heard you whistling, 'cause there's no point at all, in dreaming small.
Why, hey there, my fabulous listener. Welcome to episode 218 of the Small Business Made Simple podcast. Today on the podcast, we are talking about, is discounting your products or your services a good thing or a bad thing? Thank you, as always, for lending me your ears today. I know you have lots of choices out there, and I really do appreciate you making me and my podcast one of them. If you are enjoying this podcast, and I would love you to take a screenshot and share it on your socials and tag me at Jen Donovan, because it'd be super cool to get to know you a little bit more. Now, I have a few things to share with you on this podcast. So take a note of where the show notes are, because you might want to refer to them. So the show notes for this episode, you can find at all the W's, socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/218. But before I get started on to today's episode, did you go and have a listen to last week's episode all about Web3, NFTs, future tech, and all of that with Nicola BZ? I loved that podcast. I really hope that you got something from it, or it challenged your thinking, or made you think outside the square, or made you less nervous as to what the next big thing is when it comes to small business. If you didn't have a listen to that, then slip back and listen to episode 217 there. But on to today's episode. Do discount or not to discount? That is the question. Now, some small business owners, maybe even you, maybe even me, might use sales to increase cash flow. So sometimes we look at our bank balance and we think, oh, we've got all this stuff that we should be selling, whether it be a service or whether it be a product, and we think, oh, we just need to get some cash flow in. We just need to do something. So we'll have a sale. For example, maybe you're having a quiet month and you think, I'll just have a sale. I'll have 20% off and really start that cash rolling in for my business. And it makes such logical sense, doesn't it? I know in my retail days, this was definitely a strategy that worked for us. I'm not saying it was a good strategy, but it was definitely a strategy. But today on the podcast, I really want to talk about is what is the real cost to your business and to your profitability of your business when you do go on sale. So is discounting a good thing or is discounting a bad thing? And you know what? Straight up front, clearly my answer is going to lay somewhere in the middle. But there's a few things I want you to know about discounting, hence this particular podcast episode. And as this episode goes live, it's going to be around Black Friday. And it's actually a sale that I have a love-hate relationship with. And you might have the same sort of love-hate relationship with Black Friday. As a consumer, I do love it. There are things like Lego and perfume and things that always seem to make it into my Black Friday list of things to buy. As a business owner or as a small business advocate, I hate it because I really think it decimates small business. It's a day for big business mostly, and small businesses which really can't afford to discount, they do it because they have to keep up and they suffer those losses in profit when really it's the most profitable time of the year for them coming into summer and Christmas. So I don't like it for that. And I do like it because this year I'm probably going to be contributing to it. So again, see, love-hate relationship. It's a great excuse for me to launch my 2023 Women in Business, Not So Business retreat and offer an early bird price. So if you're interested in maybe coming along to my 2023 Women in Business retreat, head to my socials because I'm sure it will be all over there, or you can email me, jen@jendonovan.com.au to find out some more information. But again, I hate it. because it's adding pressure to business, to small business, which frankly we do not need at this point of time. And on this, can I just say the big corporates, the big guys that I actually did some purchasing from last year, and I'm not going to name names, but I did do some purchasing in the Black Friday sale last year. My parcels arrived just in the nick of time for Christmas. So like 4 weeks it took them to get my orders to me. Whereas I did some Black Friday shopping with some small businesses, and even not Black Friday shopping with small businesses, coming into December for Christmas. And the parcels basically arrived within a week. It was super fast, super efficient, often a thank you note in there and a little surprise. So it's just something to really be thinking about when you're buying in the Black Friday sales is, will it actually get to you in time? A month seems like a long time. But for big business, sometimes they find it really hard to get those out. But alas, I'm digressing into my own personal thoughts about Black Friday. But what I really wanted to talk to you about was discounting and whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. And again, the answer is yes and no. And although that sounds like a bit of a cop-out, understanding what discounting does to your business is the point I really want to make today. I know podcasting is not a good medium for trying to show you something or trying to, explain something that's a diagram that's sitting in front of me. And that's why I said, maybe you might like to head to the show notes. Again, socialmediaandmarketing.com.au/218. And you can see this discounting graph that I'm about to explain to you. So what the graph actually means to what does it actually mean to your business? What damage is discounting doing to your business and to the mindset that you need as well? So let's have a look at this particular discounting diagram that I really want to talk to you about and see what's going on when you discount. So let me explain the graph to you firstly. So it's a table, not a graph. Let me explain this table to you. The table on the left-hand side, on the side says, if you cut your prices by, and it has percentages. So for instance, if you cut your prices by 5%, 10%, 20%, and so on, that's the side that you choose there. What is the effect on your actual profitability? So across the top, it says, and you presently have a gross margin of X%, you need to increase your volume by Y. So basically, when you look at the graph, you look at the left-hand side and the top-hand side. So you look at how much you're discounting and how much your GP is at the moment, your gross profit. And then where those two figures meet in this particular table is going to tell you how much extra you need to sell to still have the same profitability as if you didn't go on sale at all. So the graph basically says if your GP, your gross margin, is, for example, 40%, and you are offering your services or your items on a 15% off sale, then this graph, this table tells you have to sell 60% more products and services than you would if you didn't have a sale. So let me say that again so you can kind of imagine what I'm saying. If you give 15% off your product that's normally got a 40% gross profit margin on it, then you are going to have to sell 60% more of that product to be in the same position you would be because you are losing so much margin on it. And it's a lot, isn't it? 60% more. You have to increase your sales by 60%. So when I was in retail, for instance, we used to have a 20% off sales quite a few times in the year. But when I was introduced to this table, to this graph, it didn't make us go on sale any less, but it certainly did make me think about the marketing that we needed to do to increase our sales by 50% as it was. Our GP was 60%. We offered 20% off, and therefore the graph tells me that I have to sell twice as much to earn the same amount of profit as what I would selling that product without 20% off. So you're not just losing 20%. You have to sell. You don't have to. Sorry. Let me explain that a little bit better. You don't have to just sell 20% more. You have to sell 50% more. Of course, if you need to sell twice as much, then you need some great marketing strategies, sometimes some paid marketing strategies, which then means you have to even sell more to cover those marketing expenses that you've had to invest in order to sell 50% more of the product because you've got it on discount. There's just so many lessons in here. And again, I would encourage you to go to the show notes and have a look at this graph and really understand what discounting is doing to your business. If you are offering 50% off and your profit margin is like, I don't know, say 50%, then the graph is telling me that you actually have to sell like more than 150% more to get the same profitability. It's huge. So I know this is a really short podcast episode because I just really wanted to plant this seed to you that there's more work to be done if you are going to discount your products and your services. It's just not, I need more cash flow, I'm just going to go and have a sale. And although that works, and if you do need more cash flow, then you are probably going to get what you needed from that sale. But what is it doing to your profit overall? So there's so many lessons here. Let's just touch on 3 of the main lessons in this very short podcast. So do you know what your GP is? Of the price you are selling X product or service for, so whatever it is that you're selling, what's the profit and what is actually just covering expenses within that price that you've got? The second thing that we really need to think about is, where is your break-even point? At what price does your item or your service cover its own costs, its fixed and variable costs? So how much of that price is actually profit margin? Where's the break-even point? Because if you are discounting past the break-even point, then again, you're in a mess. You have discounted too much and you are now losing money rather than bringing in money. Again, I understand that it's just that you might be after cash flow, but there's no use having cash flow if, of course, you are losing money because you are having a sale. And the third thing I wanted to just chat about as a really main point is, if you are going to discount, how are you going to get the traffic to your store? Whether it's a bricks and mortar store or an online store, how are you going to get more traffic there to sell more products? Because again, if you have a profit margin of 60% and you're going 20% off sale, you need to increase your sales by 50% to get the same profitability as what you would if you didn't go on sale and sold that amount of products. So how are you going to get your traffic there? How much more do you need to sell? You probably need to know what normal is as well, but how are you going to do that? What marketing are you going to do? Discounting for most of us comes from a pressure to compete. I get that. It's Black Friday, it's Boxing Day sales, and etc. We need to compete, so we think we need to go on sale. But what I really want you to understand is what is the true cost to your profitability if you do go on sale. Marketing takes work to get sales. We all know that. I know that. You know that. But to discount, you need to make sure you have the budget and the time and the capacity to upscale your marketing to increase the amount of sales that you need to be just as profitable as if you didn't go on sale at all. So my wish for you, no matter what your business is that you take away from this podcast the idea that discounting is not bad, but if you do discount, you are going to have to dig really deep into your marketing strategy in order to get the extra sales that you need to be just as profitable. Of course, some extra sales will come naturally purely because you are on sale and because that product or service is actually cheaper. But to get the volume that you need to be just as profitable, you will have to do extra marketing. You'll need extra time and extra budget, maybe even extra staff. What does that all look like compared to if you weren't on sale? And if you weren't on sale, and if you weren't prepared, to do the work, to do the discounting, then don't discount. If you're not prepared to do the work, the marketing work, the legwork that's going to take to get more sales through the door, then it's really easy option is to just don't discount. Stay profitable in the margins that you have. You probably won't be any better off if you offer a discount and then just sit there and wait for people to come and buy from you. So I hope this has left you with some thoughts around discounting. And again, this isn't just for retailers. This is for everybody. As you know, I'm offering an early bird ticket to my winter retreat next year because it's coming up Black Friday and I thought I might just get on the bandwagon. But I understand my numbers. I understand what this discount, if I sold, so there's only 8 spots. If I sold all 8 on Black Friday, I still know the profit of that. I still know what the break-even point is. I still know how much I need to sell. So just make sure you know your numbers. And if you've got questions, then sing out. You know, I'd love your feedback. You can head into the Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group and join, or you can DM me on Instagram or LinkedIn, or you can send me an email, jen@jendonovan.com.au, because I'd really like to know your thoughts on this about discounting. Do you discount? Are you against discounting? Do you understand what discounting is doing to your profitability overall? Go and have a look at the graph. I think it will really make you think differently about discounting. Again, I'm not saying don't discount. I'm saying understand the work that it's going to take to be just as profitable as if you weren't discounting. As always, if you want to chat about profit margins or how to market better, or, you know, just how to have an awesomely profitable business without discounting, then book a discovery call with me at bit.ly/discover with Jen, or you can see the link in the show notes. Otherwise, again, chat. Let's have a chat in the Like-Minded Business Owners Facebook group. If you're not a member, come over there and join. But that's it for this particular podcast episode. I really hope that it has filled your mind with a little bit of information that will make you think strategically differently about your business, and especially the profitability and discounting side of your business. If we're not hanging out on social already, let's get social on social. You'll find me on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you have a subject that you would love me to cover on this podcast, or a guest that you would love me to interview, then please get in touch. I would love to hear from you. But whatever you do, remember, my small business peep, as my opening song says, there is no point in dreaming small.
No time like the present. Tell it like you feel it, say it proud, be true, and let us see you for the star that you are. No point in dreaming small.
I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, the Yorta Yorta people, on which I record this podcast and conduct my business today, and pay my respects to their elders, past and present. I extend this respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here with us today as well.